take. Care for one another. Think about what you might need if you were living in their shoes. There's an Indian quote that says, "Don't judge a man till you walk a mile in their moccasins." Bear the burdens of others. Realize that other people have problems that you don't have, and aim to lend a helping hand. Let's have a soul search moment. Am I motivated to do for others as God has done for me? Or am I giving in order to receive something in return? Joy. Happiness. That's the same, right? Well, yes and no. Unlike happiness, joy is gladness that is completely independent of the good or the bad things that happen in the course of a day. In fact, joy denotes a supernatural gladness given by God's Spirit that actually seems to show up best during hard times. This is a product of fixing your focus on God's purpose for the events in your life rather than on the circumstances. Joy connects us not only to God, but to one another's well-being. Happiness, on the other hand, focuses on what pleases you as an individual. Joy can hold both beauty and pain in a single breath and help carve a path for how to be in a community and bear difficult things together. Joy finds and spreads positive vibes despite surrounding negativity. You can't avoid disagreements when you're in a community, but joy gives each of us an opportunity to live beyond our individual comfort and to find something richer in the depth. To live out joy is to allow God's grace to transform us and the way that we react to and interact with everything around us, including those people we disagree with. The practical application. Smile. While it's a simple gesture, just the motion of forming your mouth in that manner brings elevated feelings inside of you. Spend time with those you love. A hug from a dear friend or the laugh of a child can certainly bring more joy to your life. Pick up a fun new hobby. Staying busy doing something you enjoy can give you energy and newfound sense of joy. Even Jessie's over there with her hobby of 20-something years just sorting beads. Makes her happy and brings this big old smile to her face. Spread joy through volunteer work. Often when we help others, we experience joy as we see their gratefulness and their sorrow turn to amazement at the love that you share with them. Okay, our soul search question. Am I choosing joy in life on a regular basis, or is my happiness dependent on things going smoothly in my day? Peace. Peace isn't the absence of turmoil, but the presence of tranquility even while in the place of chaos. You can keep your calm while everybody else is losing their head. It's a sense of wholeness and completeness that is content knowing that God controls the events of the day Light is something defined as the absence of darkness, and cold is the absence of heat. Peace as a fruit of the Spirit, however, is not merely the absence of war, anxiety, and worry. Rather, the fruit of peace provides harmony, general well-being, and wholeness. Peace requires that everyone will be taken care of and that every person will have what they need. Practical application. Be around positive people. When you realize the importance of a positive attitude, you'll want to surround yourself with people who are positive, not negative Nellies. Stay off social media feeds that cause you anxiety. Many of these can be quite toxic. Forgive others. Address any feelings of resentment and bitterness you have. You're only hurting yourself by hanging on to them. Talk to someone. Often when we air our feelings of uneasiness or share our burdens with others, we'll see a sense of peace. And again, turn that frown upside down. When you're feeling overwhelmed, the best way to find peace is to smile and develop that positive attitude. Our soul search moment. Do I find myself frazzled by the crashing waves of turmoil in my life? Or am I experiencing the peace of God which passes all understanding? Patience. Patience in a broad text is a willingness and ability to sit and endure without acting out, to be long-suffering without complaint, and we refrain from retaliation when provoked. Long-suffering. That's a term that we seldom use anymore. It provides tolerance, patience, forbearance. Okay, that's another one of those words we don't use. In dealing with other people, patience. It involves showing such qualities, especially towards any who annoy us or oppose us or have wronged us. It involves refusing to avenge oneself when in a position to do so. Ooh, road rage. How many want to take something out on that person? Friday, I can't help but think it was in preparations of me learning some of these fruit. Not once, not twice, but thrice. I was within inches of a wreck. I mean, the cars were literally on top of me, and I was laying on my horn, and we were like inches apart. Not once or twice, but 3 times. And all I could do was go, okay, Lord, bless their heart. Bless their heart. Let them keep their eyes on the road and get me home, because I don't want to be here. So practical applications of patience. I don't recommend being that close to a wreck. But apparently something else was on my agenda for that day. Expose yourself to uncomfortable things that cause you anxiety. Exposing yourself slowly can greatly improve your patient skills. That old adage, take a breath and count to 10. Yeah, it still works. We often lose our cool and a great deal of patience when we have shallow breathing. So take a few deep breaths and try and relax. Make a list of times you do get impatient and think about what you could do in those situations and how better to improve them. think about the big picture. When we think about what really matters, we realize that these little things that we get upset over really don't matter that much. The old adage, don't sweat the small stuff. Soul search moment. Am I easily set off when things go wrong or people irritate me? Or am I able to stay calm and keep a godly perspective in face of life's irritations? Kindness. When kindness is at work, in a person's life, he or she looks for ways to adapt to meet the needs of others. It's a moral kindness that overflows. It's also the absence of malice, showing genuine care and respect in all interactions. What if you strongly disagree with someone, but you have the facts, the truth? Not your version of what you think, but proven facts. How in kindness do you present that truth? Well, you do it without name calling or bullying or aggressive comments. You present just the facts. Then you respect the other person to give space for them to digest that information. Kindness is active. A kind person sees what's needed and then provides it, not looking for anything in return. When we are kind, we choose to legitimately seek the best for another person, despite the places where we disagree. Practical application. Help your neighbors. Do you even know your neighbors? If you see their yard is really a mess, take a few minutes to go help. There's been a dead tree at the edge of my property, and it's probably shared from both properties, that I have stared at year after year. And I noticed that someone was over there doing some yard work. Come to find out, it was the brother of the owner. And the owner's son is very sick in the hospital in Atlanta. So much so that they can't move after they bought this house. They can't move here to Columbia because they can't find a doctor who can treat his condition. So she's kind of stuck. So the other day we were cleaning off some things, and I looked at Brian and I said, let's get rid of that dead tree. So we did. We went ahead and helped her out and got rid of that tree. She wants to sell the property, and boy, it looks so much better from the yard now, from the street, without that dead tree in her yard. Did we expect anything in return? No, I can't even tell you her name. I don't even know her name. And we already had other neighbors to stop and say, we're so glad you did that. Volunteer in your community. Donate time to a food pantry, a homeless shelter, or an animal shelter. Be empathetic. Put yourself in the shoes of another to try to feel how they are feeling and see their point of view. Go above and beyond. When you are in line at the bank or the post office, let somebody go in front of you. Do something that puts someone else ahead of yourself. Don't be judgmental. You never know where someone's coming from, where they've been, or what has happened to them that was out of their control. Don't judge. Soul search moment. Is it my goal to serve others with kindness, or am I too focused on my own needs, desires, and problems to let the kindness of God overflow to others? Goodness. Here we go. Goodness. That was in the song. Remember? While goodness is the soft side of good, kindness is the soft side of good, goodness reflects the character of God. Goodness in your desire is to see goodness in others. And it's not beyond loving, confronting, and even rebuking for that to happen. Goodness isn't something we do, it's something we become. Good is upholding integrity and moral values. Although our goodness eventually shows up in our actions aren't what makes us good. God has made us in the image of God, which means even in our worst, we can't be without goodness. Being made in God's image, who is good, requires that at least some of who and what we are must be good as well. When looking at our disagreement with others, it's easy to get wrapped up in that narrative that they are the terrible people. But if that same Holy Spirit is in them that's in us, so is the same God goodness. Which means I can walk in the assumption that there is goodness in all people, even those that I'm having a conflict or disagreement with. Ooh, for some of us, that's really hard to wrap our brains around. Practical application. Again, develop a positive attitude. When you reflect being positive, you will show God's goodness. Expose yourself to wholesome media. Watch what you're looking at. For example, if there's one that is nothing but vulgar language or excessive violence, maybe that's not the site you need to be on when you're working on developing goodness. Watch out for negative influence. Those people who always have a complaint are the ones you need to aim to try to turn around. Show the benefits of a positive outlook by being a great example of God's goodness in mankind. Soul search. Does my life reflect the goodness of God, and do I desire to see others experience this to a deep level of spirituality in their own life? Faithfulness. A faithful person is one with real integrity. They are someone others can look at as an example, and someone who is truly devoted to others and to God. Our natural self always wants to be in charge, but spirit controls faithfulness is evidence in the life of a person who seeks good for others while staying true to one's beliefs. A simple way to see it is faithfulness is faith in action, the act of believing and trusting. Faithfulness supports the Spirit's work, transforming our reactions and relationships with love and patience and kindness. Our love isn't fickle. It's faithful, even when we aren't in love. Our patience isn't dependent on circumstances. It's faithful, even when we are worn thin and at our limit. Our kindness doesn't play favorites. It's faithful, freely given even to people with whom we have the deepest of disagreements. We believe in a faithful God, so we show up faithfully. Fruit of faithfulness is when I'm known as the same person in whatever circle I happen to be in at the time. Practical application. God calls us to show love to Him above all and to love others as ourselves. Make sure you're living for the right things. Give thanks to God on a regular basis. Give a portion of your income shows you're being faithful to the causes. Do not be afraid when trials come your way. This is an excellent time to trust God and show you are faithful in your beliefs. Demonstrate the joy in your heart shows faithfulness that you believe in God's promises. A soul search moment. Are there areas of hypocrisy or indifference towards others in my life? Or is my life characterized by faith in God and faithfulness to those around me? Gentleness. Gentleness is not weakness. Gentleness is not without power. It just chooses to defer to others. It's forgiving others, corrects with kindness, and lives in tranquility. Approaching conversations with a calm, gentle demeanor illustrates this fruit. There was a time when grieving a loved one, you wore all black. Remember back in Gone with the Wind and Scarlett had to wear all black? That way, others would know how to act towards that person, giving them some patience, being careful what you said, and to know their pain and hurt, to be gentle. Being gentle requires us to be aware of how fragile the world is around us. Gentleness requires that we know ourselves well and that we have to know our own strengths. To do no harm gently doesn't require setting aside truth, only presenting the truth in a peaceful, loving manner. As we start talking about topics that are increased importance, theology, abortion, racism, politics, sexuality, these deep topics can be more personal and also more easily misunderstood. When we're not using the right words for the people we're talking with, the potential for misunderstanding is greater, and that means the potential for harm is greater. We must learn to slow in our actions so we can choose our gentle words. Application. Be sensitive to others. Be understanding when it comes to the faults of others. We're all just still a work in progress. Be humble. Never let pride be the chief goal in a situation or circumstance. Celebrate those who go in front of you. And remember the golden rule. Did you know that in all religions there's a common golden rule? It's just said a little bit different. In Buddhism it says, hurt not others with that which pains yourself. Christianity, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Hinduism, do not to others, which is, if done to you, would cause you pain. Even in Islam, no one of you is a believer until he loves his brother for what he loves for himself. I'm not going to go through more. You get the idea. Our soul search moment. Do I come across to others as brass and headstrong? Or am I allowing the grace of God to flow through me in a gentle manner to others? One last fruit. That's self-control. I know, they saved the hardest one for last. Self-control. Self-control is releasing our grips on fleshly desire, our ego, and choosing instead to be controlled by the Holy Spirit. It is a power focused in the right place. Managing emotions and reactions, especially in tense situations, is an evidence of self-control. When self-control is only about the don'ts in life, it becomes a huge individual endeavor. What I don't do becomes the focus to appear more spiritual. I grew up in a mainline Christian church, and through the years, I have been closely associated with 5 different denominations. And all of them, the focus seemed to be more on what you shouldn't do. So how do we look at self-control by a community view? In the book, Loving Disagreement, they explain, vitally self-control involves, for one thing, our health, which interconnects with the health and flourish of others. It expands the need to self-control from individual to all of humanity. When we broaden our understanding of health, for example, to things like access to health care and to healthy, affordable food, we take self-control to a more positive view. In the case of racism, lack of self-control is seen in abuse and denial of individual rights, not just race, but also gender identity and women's rights. So how do we use self-control to rebuke injustice? We honor the full humanity and story of every person in our community, acknowledging and fighting for their innate right to health, wholeness, dignity, and belonging. What if controlling our mind and actions is less about what we shouldn't think or do, and more about imagining and then creating systems and space and polities that reflect our beautiful God? Our practical application. Stay busy. When you have things in your life that make you feel out of control, detrimental habits, unhealthy obsessions, or other hurts, keeping busy will help you focus your mind on other things. Remember what's important. When you refocus on what really matters, you can control your negative emotions better. Get plenty of rest. Oh, that's easier said than done nowadays. But the lack of sleep can cause you to be snappy and on edge, and you lose your self-control. Be mindful. Keep things in the moment. Don't dwell on the past. You can't go back and change it. Our soul search moment. Are my desires controlling my life? Or am I allowing the Spirit to direct me to things that please God and serve others? Love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. This fruit is not meant for an individual to bear in isolation. When the Apostle Paul penned these words, it was to a church, a community that was in conflict. Our community, our nation, is definitely in conflict. As spiritual followers, we must come together and produce this fruit of the Spirit. Will it be perfect? Heck no. Will it be messy? Oh, heck yeah. But the fruit is still growing. A dear friend of mine who recently passed said, when you're green, you grow. And when you're ripe, you rot. As long as we're on this big blue marble, we need to continue to grow and produce fruit. We'll bicker, we'll split up, we'll regroup, apologize, forgive, make amends, then we'll try it all over again. We must remember on the other side of every screen is a human being made in the image of God. Yes, even that person who just cut you off in traffic, or that opposing political advocate, they were all made in the image of God. That doesn't mean I have to stand by and make excuses and movements of injustice. It doesn't mean that I can't disagree, even loudly, on important issues. It just means that at the end of the day, I have a responsibility to love those people. As we go to our meditation, think on these things. Am I actively depending on the Holy Spirit to guide me in living out the fruit of the Spirit? If not, am I willing to let the Spirit guide me and show me the way? Okay, Ben, come back and join us.
Good job. Good job. Moving a little slow.
Don't tell me. What are we going to do, Bruce?
You're going to sing. You're going to sing a song and then say goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Whatever
What
you
shall
want
we
to do.
sing? Let's do
Should-
Sriracha. Yeah.
Sriracha.
If you want to do one and then do the
I'm
closeout
gonna
song, that's fine.
retune this. Yeah. Do that.
Um,
I'm gonna do that.
can I go and get my other?
You can get your tambourine. Hide the sriracha. This is a long way to stretch.
Yeah. I don't know if it's Julie's.
A lot of times, this is easier done if you don't have to retune your whole guitar a whole tone down.
Little history about our famous song, which you can hear on Reverb Nation. It's about a sriracha bottle.
You don't have to explain it, Leslie. It's very
And-
self-explanatory. When
Well,
get
if you think
into it,
if you think about it, Bruce, we're live on air, so we don't want to. We don't want to sit.
this is the part that
I am just telling them about how this song came to be. So as I was saying, whatever you do, don't put the sriracha bottle away. Because someone will think you're hiding it.
All right. Let's see if this will work here. I think that's. Last season, how you tried to pull me out of my sadness. This season, now you learn this method to my madness. You say I'm chicken, well you play catch up to the season. and then you're in a pickle. Still you don't know the reason. Don't
Hide the sriracha, hide the sriracha. Hot.
cha cha cha. Don't
Hide the sriracha, hide the sriracha. No.
Okay, I was a jerk to run you off. I'm glad I still got ya.
Well, after yesterday, you better be.
You were out hunting work. They only cheese you off while they got ya. And it helps sometimes to get hot under the collar. Oh, and behind the ears you jump too many hoops for $8.
And hide the sriracha, hide the sriracha. Hot. Cha 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 cha
Don't
cha.
hide the sriracha, don't hide the sriracha, no. If we are worth our salt, we should be past.
I want
asking for
pepper. I want pepper. I want pepper. Hot peppers.
The sweat be on our brow, sweat bullets till it gets better.
Don't hide the sriracha. Hide the sriracha. Hot.
Cha cha, don't
Hide the sriracha. Hide the sriracha. No. Hey, hon. I think we all learned a great lesson from Julie today. And I was wondering what you should do if you have a disagreement about using sriracha when someone doesn't use sriracha. Smile.
There are many other hot sauces,
Yes.
and maybe some don't like it hot.
Right.
There's no more profundity I can find in it.
Well, be diverse on your sriracha sauce.
Sometimes it's because you can't grow the right peppers.
Yes.
And then the other manufacturers will make the same product.
Yes.
Sometimes it'll smell so bad the residents will try to run you off.
Yeah. And that has
But
happened.
that can happen to anybody. Don't have to
Sriracha, hide the sriracha. No.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Oh, what about? Hold on. Now
I
we.
gotta retune the guitar.
Oh, okay. Well, see you. Okay. Well, you. We're talking about being thankful, and Eckert Tolle, Meister Eckert. Sorry. Meister. I'm sorry. Good morning, Meister Eckert. Meister Eckert. I'm sorry. Sriracha, Meister Eckert. Oh, and by the way, if you like that song, we do have a plenty more upbeat version, kind of sleepy today doing that. We are on Reverb Nation, Sunshine Delusions. You can listen to some of our songs. Also, we are on Facebook, but, our page is kind of old, but we'll get... Well, we haven't updated it in a while. We've been doing Jubilee.
A lot of things that don't change. It's just as new now as it was then.
And remember, get your walking shoes on, people. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. walk together with hearts and arms open wide. We make the way by walking in love, we will abide. The path is always open, no traveler is denied. So open up your heart, forget those tears you cried. We all walk together, hand in hand, side by side. We all walk together, hand in hand.